Alright, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. I've got a couple of interesting stories for you guys today. The first story that I've got for you guys today, an interesting post from Sergio Oliva Jr. It looks like, based on this post, he's going to be competing in the Cali Pro this weekend. So we know that this was a show that he wanted to do. He wanted to do the New York Pro. He wanted to do the Arnold Brazil. But this Cali Pro was the last of the shows that he had mentioned wanting to do. The other two came and went, and he didn't do them. Now, this is what the recent post from Sergio had to say. He said, "We did it, never done this before, and got on a plane across the world to hop on stage right away. I'm a stressed ball of water, but no matter what happens, I'm so happy to be able to just do what I love and be back in my home. God bless the USA." And then he tags Muscle Contest International, and then he hashtags the Cali Pro. Now, I want to put this story with the caveat that I'm not sure if he's trolling or not, because one thing that I did notice was that he disabled the comments on this post and not the comments on any other post. Now, also, he had that little John Cena meme on there. And I think that, honestly, you could read this post with sarcasm, and it would make sense. Because when the Cali Pro lineup was announced, everybody was talking about, well, Sergio keeps posting these updates. This was the last show he talked about doing. He should do this show. I was reading the comments on his posts, and that was the majority of the comments. Bro, you should do Cali. Fly to Cali. So I could see a scenario in which this is a sarcastic response, but because he does have comments disabled, we don't know entirely. You could read this as, yes, I flew all the way across the world just to hop on stage in California. But he also could be dead serious, which I hope he is. I think it's about time that we got to see Sergio back on stage. I want to see him win a show. I want to see him do well. I want to see him back on a stage like qualifying for the Olympia. I want to see him back on a stage like the Arnold Classic. I want to see Sergio back competing at the highest level. And I hope that this post is 100% dead serious. He's going to be at the Cali Pro, and we're going to have an exciting show this weekend. Because right now, the Cali Pro is really just a New York Pro rematch between Tonio Burton and Beef Stew. And other than that, it's actually less competitors in Cali than New York overall. Patrick Moore was initially supposed to do this show. It actually doesn't look like Patrick's going to be competing. So it's really, if Sergio doesn't do it, it's looking like it's probably going to be between Tonio Burton again and Beef Stew. And I really want to see Sergio in the mix because I really feel like had he done the New York Pro last week, he would have been a likely top 3 potential winner of that show. Sergio, as much flack as he gets and as much hate as he gets, he is an elite level IFBB pro. He's already won the New York Pro. Not a lot of people can say that. And if he is really competing in Cali, I think everybody in that lineup should be hoping he's not, because he's not going to make it easy for anybody to place ahead of him at that show. But another guy that is a really elite level pro bodybuilder, Shaaban, it looks like he's jumping in the Cali Pro at the last minute. Potentially with this post, he says, I want to come out and play too. Then he hashtags it the Cal, and also Toronto Pro, which is the following week. So it looks like he was prepping for Toronto and is going to hop in the Cali Pro a week sooner. And again, with the lack of depth in this Cali Pro lineup that was announced earlier this week, I think a guy like Shaaban becomes one of the favorites for top 3. If Sergio is doing it, he becomes one of the favorites. Realistically, with Mo and Sergio, if they both actually do this show, I think this becomes more competitive than the New York Pro, which honestly, I think the New York Pro might slip out of that 3rd place spot, because for a long time, even when it was the Night of Champions, it was the Olympia in 1st, the Arnold Classic Ohio in 2nd. Then the New York Pro was that 3rd biggest show. I've heard some big rumors about the Arnold Classic UK next year in 2024, and I feel like it could become the Olympia in 1st, Arnold Ohio in 2nd, and the Arnold UK in 3rd for the top 3 biggest shows, most competitive shows, and most compelling lineups. And I don't mean any disrespect to anybody that competed, again, at the New York Pro. Tonio Burton looked phenomenal. That was a deserved victory, no doubt about it. He was the champion of New York that night. But outside of that battle for top 2, let's be honest, this was one of the least competitive New York Pros in the past decade. Most casual bodybuilding fans might not have recognized a single name on that lineup, even including Tonio Burton. That's rarely ever the case at the New York Pro. And to be honest, I don't know what the reason for that is. Is it the prize money? Is it just not enticing enough to get guys to compete this early in the season? Are guys waiting until it gets closer to the Olympia? Is that just it, the proximity? Do they want to do a show that's later on, closer to fall? I don't know. I mean, people messed with Blessing last year when he won the New York Pro and said, well, it wasn't that deep of a lineup, but I think that lineup was almost deeper than this one. Now, next up in the news, let's get on to the next story, the Toronto Pro. We got some physique updates from Hassan Mostafa, looking pretty impressive, pretty big, but also pretty in shape. This is going to be his big comeback to the stage after not being able to compete at the Olympia due to a health condition that, at his doctor's advice, precluded him from competing. So we don't know how he would have done, but I think he probably would have done well had he been healthy and able to compete. This Toronto Pro, not going to be an easy victory. You've got Iain Valliere, who has been a perennial top placer at the Olympia for the past 3 years. Even though this year he placed outside of the top 10, he was 7th place 2 consecutive years at the Olympia. That is not easy to do. And that is not going to be an easy guy to beat. But like I said, I think Hassan looks very impressive here. And I think we're going to have quite the battle on our hands. I don't know who else is doing the show. Likely some of these guys from New York and Cali will probably continue on their preps to also do Toronto if they have a passport and they're easily able to travel. I don't think it's too unrealistic that we might see Tonio there. We might see Beef Stew there, some of these top guys. Maybe Sergio if he really is back in the States. And by the way, you can look at this latest update from Iain Valliere. You don't get to see a whole lot. You can see the caption there. This is specifically about his forearm. But as many people think I don't like Iain, I do. I like his physique, and there's no denying he's one of the best bodybuilders in the world. So when I see his name in this Toronto Pro lineup, I love it. When I see him say he's going to do multiple shows, I love it. I feel like we don't get to see a lot of the top bodybuilders compete enough. A lot of them compete just enough to get back to the Olympia stage. But I like what Iain does when he does 2-3 shows and wins 2-3 in a row. Even if it takes a qualification away from somebody else, I think we should be grateful that we get to see a top-level bodybuilder competing multiple times, because when you don't see that, you end up with lineups like the New York Pro being lackluster, or lineups like the Cali Pro being lackluster because these top guys don't want to show up to shows. So we should applaud a guy like Iain that talks about doing multiple shows, because that's what we want to see. We want to see the best of the best, top 10 Olympians doing shows year-round. And while I totally understand why you get a guy like maybe Nick Walker that only wants to do the Olympia and skip the Arnold Classic, even though I think that's a big decision, I can understand why. He wants to focus and improve and place higher. I think most fans would like to see Nick do some of these shows. They would be happy to see him in these lineups. And I'm not saying I think he should, but fans would love that. I think we should appreciate that Iain is doing that. Now, next up in the news, just kind of quickly here, another update from Carlos Thomas Jr. Again, a guy that we didn't get to see compete at the New York Pro. The last picture, I think the standout of that update was his wheels, his legs. They looked huge, impressive. Quads are out of this world. He was standing in kind of a front relaxed in that other update. In this update, he's hitting a most muscular, and you can see his legs aren't the only extremity. They're not the only limb. That looks crazy. He's got crazy arms, too. And again, I would say this is a guy that I'm really excited to see compete. I think he's the real deal. He's got these freaky body parts. He's not like your average bodybuilder. I think there's things about him that make him exciting. Even being a shorter guy with more of a 212 build, he's got these freaky body parts. He's got a lot of size in a lot of places. If he can nail that conditioning, he's going to give some IFBB pros a really tough time when he does make his pro debut. So Carlos Thomas Jr., we're rooting for you. He's got to get his health in check first. But I hope we do get to see him healthy on stage in the very near future. Now, next up in the news, probably the final story of tonight's video, GoodVito Vitaly Ugonikov. So first, we got a physique update from Vitaly. It was kind of a short one, so I was going to make a YouTube short about that. But we got some more information, an accusation against Vitaly, GoodVito, that I wanted to include in this video. Now, I wanted to include this because I had done a video recently congratulating GoodVito Vitaly Ugonikov on his marriage, on his recent baby. And everything seemed like with GoodVito, he was on the right trajectory. He moved to Brazil. He made it easier for himself to travel and compete. He started to have a family in Brazil, which I would imagine would extend his visa or potentially get him a green card or citizenship in Brazil, allowing him to travel even more freely. Again, he's from Russia. So while we talk about all this potential that GoodVito has, and this crazy physique that he's got, And we look at what he's doing, and we say, wow, he's making some good decisions for his career. He's got a great trajectory going for him. So I was tagged in this multiple times, and I don't want to just ignore it, because in the video, you can clearly see GoodVito sitting there, and there's a bunch of stuff like broken, laying around the apartment. And the claim in this post is, you may have noted, this is the caption, I can't keep quiet any longer. You may have noticed I stopped posting pics of myself. Why? Vitaly Ugonikov, GoodVito, cheated on me for the 3rd time, and this is why we broke up. He will say we broke up first, and then he got in a relationship. Lie. Your wife, Kim Sousa, opened up my Instagram, translated my comments badly, started blackmailing me with intimate pictures. None of this really, the cheating, the blackmailing, who knows if that's true or not. But the part that I thought was noteworthy was she openly accuses GoodVito here of domestic violence in both Russia and Brazil. And she said she didn't call the police because he used to bully her, and she tolerated this. And it's been 5 months. He still has my things. One day I noticed in the story he's walking around with my things. And I just want you to know the whole truth. I was scared. Now, because of Kim and Vitaly, I have major heart problems. A big thank you to them. Now, she also goes on to show some pictures of bruises and some messages, which I don't fully understand because they're not in English. But I wanted to include this in the video, not because I necessarily believe the allegations. They're all allegations. They're alleged. We don't know if they're true. But because I literally had just done a video congratulating GoodVito on his happy family, his happy marriage, and saying, look, this guy's doing all the right things. He's on the right career path to really being a star. And look, frankly, if there's some pretty compelling evidence, which I think that first video really was, that the guy might be not necessarily the best guy, maybe making some horrible career-ending decisions, I want to show the other side of the story too. Because I don't want to be sitting here saying, oh, this guy's smart. He's making these good career moves. He's a good family guy, when that might not be the case. So I don't want to give him any credit that might not be due. But I also don't want to necessarily say that I think these are true allegations, because I don't know. I wasn't there. But, you know, the video I think is compelling. And look, I hope it's not true, because I look at this guy and I see so much potential. I see, like, this guy could be a star in bodybuilding. He really could. And if this is true, he's going to throw it all away, and it's just a waste. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Make sure you like and subscribe, all that good stuff. As always, I love you guys, appreciate you guys. Nick Strength and Power, signing out. All right, guys, don't forget to click that like button and subscribe to this channel if you enjoy the content. Also, check out my Instagram at Nick Strength Power. My Facebook page, which is simply Nick Strength and Power. My secondary YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Vlogs, for vlogs and bonus content that you will not see on this channel. And consider subscribing to my third YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Pokemon, which is all things Pokemon and trading card games, completely unrelated to this channel. So if you're into that, give that one a look. And all links to merchandise and social media will be in the description box below. If you guys want a Nick Strength and Power t-shirt, that will be in the Shopify link below. Have a great day.